Hi guys, this is Himanshu and in this video I will be discussing about the topic linear Diophantine equation, which is slightly less frequent in CP problems but can be asked at crucial point of time, like it was asked in our Amazon online coding round of for internship. So first of all, what is linear Diophantine equation? Basically these are polynomial equation whose solution should be integers. So let's understand this with the help of question that was asked. And the question is something like this, that you are given three integers a, b and n, and you start with the value 0. Now we can perform several operations where we can add or subtract a or add or subtract b from the value which is 0, and we have to tell whether we can get n or not after performing several operations of addition and subtraction of a and b. So now pause the video and try to come up with the solution yourself. So let's see what this problem asks. Basically we have to take xa and yb. So if we take xa, we will the contribution of a will be a times x plus b times y, and this value should come out to be n. So now you can see this is a polynomial equation with x and y as unknown, and the solution of this equation should be integer, that is x and y should be integers, because we need to take a and b completely. We cannot take them in fractions. So this is a Diophantine equation. So now let's see first application, which was basically asked in the problem, that whether a solution exists or not for this equation. So a naive approach would be something like this. We can try iterate on the possible values of x and then check whether the value of y exists or not. But the possible values for x are infinite. That is, x can be from minus infinity to infinity. So this approach won't work. You can use this, you can reduce the range to get some partial marks. That wouldn't be the complete solution. You will get only partial marks. So let's see how can we use Diophantine equation application number 1, that is finding whether the solution exists or not. So what we can do is we can calculate GCD of A and B. Now you will understand why we are calculating GCD and what is the use of GCD here. So now G is the GCD of A and B. So we can write A as G times some variable K1, because G is the greatest common divisor of A. So A will be the multiple of G. Similarly, B can be written as G times K2. Now let's substitute these values in this equation, that is ax plus by equals to n. So the equation will become something like this. A will be replaced by G times K1 and B will be replaced by G times K2. So we can take G as common. K1 times x plus K2 times y should be equals to n. So now this value will be integer, because x and y should be integers and K1 and K2 are also integers. So this will be a integer. So which means n should be a multiple of G, that is n should be divisible by G, that is n modulo G should be equals to 0. So the solution of question will be simply like this. We can calculate the GCD of A and B and then check if n is divisible by G. If it is divisible, then the answer exists. So we can simply print yes. So this is the exact question that was asked and can be easily solved with the application number of 1 of Diophantine equation, that is to check whether solution exists or not. I will be adding some more problems in the description so that you can practice this concept and can see how this concept is used in various questions. So now we have checked whether the solution exists or not. So now can we find the solution, that is the value of x and y that should satisfy this equation? So that is application number 2. So let's look into that. So now before moving with the application number 2, let me discuss a point. Suppose if the equation has more than two unknowns, that is suppose there was c times z as well in the picture. So Now to check whether solution exists or not, we can simply take the GCD of A, B and C altogether and then check whether this n is divisible by that GCD or not. So it is not a hard thing, but I felt it should be discussed. So now let's see application number 2. So let's suppose there is a problem which says there is a monkey at origin on an infinite tree and he can make jumps of A steps and B steps up and down, and we are given an array of location of fruits, that is n fruits, and p1 is the location of first fruit and pn is the location of nth fruit. So for every fruit we have to tell whether the monkey can reach that fruit, and if it can reach the fruit, how many jumps he will make of A steps and B steps and in which direction. So for checking whether the monkey will reach and eat this fruit, we can simply use application number 1, that is calculate GCD of A and B and check whether these are the multiple of GCD or not. So now let's see how can we find the value of x and y. So for finding the value of x and y, we will be using the concept of extended Euclidean algorithm. So basically extended Euclidean algorithm is used to find the value of this equation. Now I will not discuss the whole algorithm because it will make video longer and will shift the focus. So suppose with the use of that extended algorithm, we get the value of x naught and y naught. So for getting the value for this equation, we can simply divide by g and multiply by n on both sides. That is something like this. So dividing by g on both sides and multiplying it by n. Similarly for y naught times n divided by g. So on the right hand side, after dividing by g, we will get 1 and 1 multiplied by n will be n. Now this thing will be surely an integer because n should be divisible by g. Remember application number 1, for a solution to exist, n should be multiple of GCD, that is g. Now you can see this is the same equation as this. So our one solution can be something like this. X1 should be x naught times n divided by g, where x naught is the value that we found out using the help of extended Euclidean algorithm. Similarly, y1 will be, so now we have found out a solution and let's see how can we use this to solve this problem. Basically, monkey can take steps A and B and in each direction. So we will get similar equation ax plus by should be equals to p1. Then we can calculate the value of x and y and GCD using extended Euclidean algorithm and then can check whether p1 is divisible by g or not. If it is divisible by g, then we can calculate the value of x1 and y1 using this equation, and depending on the sign of x and y, we can tell in which direction the jump should be made. If x1 is positive, then the jump should be in upward direction, otherwise jump should be in the negative direction for A. So just a quick recap, this equation will have infinitely many solutions. So we can find out a solution out of those infinite solutions by first calculating value of x naught and y naught using extended Euclidean algorithm, and then can calculate the real answer by multiplying it by n and dividing by g, where g is the GCD and n is the value on right hand side. And a little more thing, we said that the monkey started from origin. Suppose a monkey started from some other point, let's say P. So how can we change this equation? We can simply add P here because monkey has already reached the position P. So now this value is a known value. We can move it to right hand side. Again, this will become our end and we can proceed the same way. Now we have found out a solution and I have said that there exist many solutions for this equation. So can we find all of them? So that is application number 3, to find out other solutions. So let's see that now. Again, before moving to application number 3, I forgot to tell how can we find solution if there are more than two unknowns like this, and we have to find the value of x, y, and z. So a simple idea can be we can loop on x, that is iterate on x, and then we will get the value of a times x. So we can shift it to the right hand side, and then can check for, and then can apply the same concept here, because we will have two unknown and some constant value here. But so do we need to iterate on all possible value of x, or can we make a good guess on x, and that x will always satisfy this equation? So try to think about this. So one possible good guess for x can be LCM of a, b, and c, because GCD of b and c will divide n, and as well as a times x. So this is one of the possible good guess. There can be many. You can try to think of some other as well. So now let's see how can we find other solution apart from these two, x1 and y1. That will be our application number 3. So again, let's substitute this value x1 and y1 in this equation. Again, I will fill some value here. Just wait. So now we know this equation satisfy. So for finding other solution, what we can do is we can take a small step in x1 in a positive direction, and to counter that step we can take step in negative direction from y1. So what will be the size of this step? It will be b divided by g, and here it will be a divided by g. So if you didn't understand this step concept, let us open these bracket. This will become a by g, ab by g. Similarly, this will become ab by g, and these two will cancel each other out. So we will basically get ax1 plus by1, which we know is equals to n. So now you must be wondering why we divide by b by g. We could have simply divided by b here, and we could have simply added b here and simply subtracted a here. Again, we would have get a times b and minus b times a. But the reason for dividing by g is we have to calculate the minimum size of step, that is smallest step we can take, so that we can take these steps another time to calculate another value as well. So again, you might be wondering why divide by g. We can use some bigger value or some other value than g for dividing to calculate that minimum step. So the reason for that is we know our value of x, this will become our new x, and this will become our new y. So value of x and y should be integers. So this term should be integer. Now we know x1 is integer, as we have discussed in application number 2. So for making this value as integer, we should b divide by its divisor, and g is the greatest common divisor. So this is the maximum value we can divide to get a integer here, and similarly we have divided a by g here. So now we have found another solution which will be something like this. So now for finding other solution, we can simply take these steps multiple times. Basically we can write it as something like this. Let's generalize this. So kth solution will be x1 plus k times b divided by g. Similarly yk will be y1 minus k times a divided by g. So now you can see the reason for taking b by g. If we would have taken simply b here and a here, then it is not possible to generalize it this way, because then the step size would be bigger and we will miss some possible values. So now the general solution for this Diophantine equation will be this, where x1 and y1 are given by these value, and x0 and y0 are calculated using extended Euclidean algorithm. You might be wondering what is the use of this all possible solution, because these will be infinite. So in a CP problem you wouldn't get to print all the possible solution. So what is the use of calculating this? So let's see in application number 4. Basically application number 4 is simply extension of this, but it is classified as another application, so I will also treat it as another application. So let's see what is application number 4. Till now we have assumed x and y can take any possible value from minus infinity to infinity. But suppose if the question asks that x and y should be positive integer or in some other range. Let us start with positive integer for now. So let us look at an example. Suppose a is 4. So we have to check whether there exists a solution for this equation such that x and y are positive integers. And we can see with simple logic, if x and y will be positive, this value will always be greater than 1. So for this to be equal to 1, this should be one of them should be negative. For example, if we take x as 1 and y as minus 1, then this equation will satisfy 4 minus 3 equals to 1. So we check this with simple logic, but let's see how can we use the concept which we have discussed till now. So if you want to try again, I will recommend you to pause the video first and try to think what can be done. Let's see. We are given constraint that x and y both of them should be greater than 0. Okay, so what is the general value of x? This value should be greater than 0. Now we can simply calculate for k. We can take this to the right hand side. It will become minus x1. We have taken this here. So only this thing remains, and now g is always positive. So we can multiply both sides by g, and similarly b will always be positive. We can divide by b here, and this inequality sign will remain same because b and g both are positive integers. Similarly, we need y to be greater than 0. So let's say this as kx, ky. This will go into the right hand side, minus y1. Again g will be multiplied, and same goes for a, it will be divided. And finally we have to remove this minus sign, so we will multiply with negative 1 on both sides, so inequality sign will change. And after multiplying by 1, this sign will get changed too, so this will become positive y1. So now for x to be greater than 0, our k should be greater than this value, and similarly for y to be greater than 0, our k should be less than this value. So for a solution to exist such that x and y are positive integers, we should be able to find a k in between these two range. So basically k should be less than y1 times g divided by a, and should be greater than x1 times g divided by b. And you can simply check this using an if statement. Now let us check for these examples. We have already calculated by logic that x can be 1 and y can be minus 1. So now let's substitute these value here. So let's substitute 1, and GCD of 4 and 3 is 1, so minus 1 times 1 will be 1, minus 1, and b is 3. Now for y1 we have y as negative 1 times 1, it will be negative 1, and divided by 4. So now this value is greater than this value, but what we need is k should be an integer, and there exists no integer between this range. There is no possible solution for this equation with constraints x and y should be greater than 0, and we have already checked with the logic, and this logic can be extended further. We can call it application number 5, but again it is simply an extension of this concept. So let's extend this concept. We have checked whether x and y exist such that both are positive integer. Now in the problem they may also ask to check whether x and y exist between a range, that is x lies between range, let's say x start till x end, and y should lie between y start and y end. So now we can solve for this also using the previous concept. We have generalized formula for x and y. So what we want is our value of x should lie between this range. So xk, which is given by x1 plus k times b divided by g, should be less than x end, should be less than equals to, we have used this square bracket here, and should be greater than equals to x start. So again we can find the value of k if we take x1, subtract x1 from all these sides, so we will get x start minus x1 and x and minus x1. So we have subtracted x1, so this is removed from here. Now multiplying by g on both sides, and since g is a positive integer, the sign will remain same, inequality sign will remain same, times g, and here also this is also removed, and not dividing by b on both sides. So for x to lie between this range x star to x end, our k should be in this range, should be greater than this value and should be less than this value. Similarly, we can calculate the value range of k for y. So we want y to be greater than y start and should be less than y end. Again we have y1 minus k times a by g. Now again subtracting y1 from both sides, then multiplying by g and dividing by a, and again multiplying by 1, the signs will get reversed. So we will get something like this, should be less than ys minus y1 times g divided by a. So this will be positive and this will be negative. Again, if you didn't understand what happened, first I have subtracted y1 from all the sides, so we will get ys minus y1 here and ye minus y1, and if we multiply minus 1 on each side, this minus sign will get cancelled out and the inequality sign will be reversed. So this will become something like this, and this will be multiplied by minus 1. So we have written similarly, this value should be greater than k because sign is reversed, so I have written it on the right hand side. Similarly, this will be multiplied by minus sign times minus 1, and the sign will get reversed out. So this value should be greater than this thing. So what will be this? Minus ye plus y1. So now we have two range for k. For x to be in this range from x star to xa, our k should lie between this range. And for y to lie between ys and y end, our k should lie between this range. So now to check whether a solution lie such that x and y are constrained to this condition, we only have to check whether there exists a k in this range and in this range. So we have to basically calculate the intersection of this range. We have to check whether there exists a value in the intersection of this range. That is, for example, suppose this value comes out to be 1 and this comes out to be 3 and less than equals to 3 for x to lie in this range. And similarly, suppose this comes out to be 2 and this comes out to be 4. So now we can see the intersection of these two ranges will be 2, 3. So now there are two values in the intersection, so there will be two solutions, and checking intersection will be only few if condition. So this can be checked easily in O1. And basically, after finding general equations, the concept can be modified in different ways. Suppose if the question asks to find a solution such that x plus y should be minimum. Again, I will recommend you to first pause the video and try to come up with the solution yourself now for the problem that we have to find a solution such that x and y should be minimum. And again, if there is no constraints, then the answer will be minus infinity. We can just keep on reducing x or y. So now first pause the video and try to find a solution such that x plus y is minimum. So let's see how can be this done. We know the value of xk and yk generally. So what will be the value of xk plus yk? It will be x1 plus y1 plus taking k by g common from both sides. So here we will have, so now everything is constant. We know the value of x1 and y1 from the extended Euclidean algorithm. We know the value of GCD and we know the value of b and a. So to minimize this whole equation and assuming b is greater than a, we will need to minimize this value of k. and depending on the constraint you can calculate the range in which k should lie. So continuing as this example, we know k should be either 2 or 3. So now to minimize this equation we need the minimum value of k. So it will be 2. So we can minimize x and the value of x plus y by choosing the value of k as 2. And suppose if b would have less than a, then this would have become negative. So this sign will be negative. So again, to minimize the value, k should be maximized. Then we should have chosen k as 3. And similarly, we could have find the answer for maximum value of x1 plus y1. Then again, depending on the constraint, we can find the k which will maximize this equation. So now I hope after this video you will understand the concept of Diophantine equation and can easily apply this concept in various questions. And again, I will be adding some links to the question where you can apply this concept. And one thing to remember is that in some of the problems the constraint might be low. So the answer can be calculated using simply for loop also, like by iterating on the value of x. But I will recommend you to apply only the concept of Diophantine equation because you might not get the question with those low constraints. For example, in our Amazon internship test, which I discussed earlier, the constraints were not low, so the simple naive approach wouldn't work and it will just give you some partial test marks. So again, try to apply Diophantine equations on the questions which I will be adding in the description. And if you understood the concept, like, share and subscribe the video. Till then, code hard.